ObjecDEFY started, I started ObjecDEFY in 2008, although at the time it wasn't ObjecDEFY, it was a reaction to something that happened to me.
Yeah, tell us about that.
I was I was crossing a street that I always cross, and I was just waiting for that one last van to pass before I crossed, and all of a sudden the van, the van was driving up the street at a normal speed, and all of a sudden it veered off and headed straight towards me, you know, barreling towards me, and I just kind of watched it come, and I didn't move. Whatever space I was in that day was, you know, I don't know what I was thinking, and it's, I don't, and it screeched to a halt right before it hit me, and it was literally inches. I could feel the heat of the engine, I could see the pores on the faces of the guy in the van. There was, I think, 4 of them, 3 guys and a driver, and as soon as it stopped, I looked up, and the 3 guys in the van were like laughing and whistling and hooting and hollering, and the driver was like holding the wheel, and he was like this. And as if I was in a dream, I just kind of like started to cross the street, and I turned and I said to them, I hope someone does that to your mother and your sister, and I kept walking. And at the time I was working, I was doing a promo for a film with a friend of mine, and when we took a break later that day, I was like, hey, you know, guess what happened to me today?
Right.
This van came up and blah, 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 and I'm telling him the story, and then I just completely lose it. Hysterical.
It hit you, kind of.
It hit me, yeah. And what hit me was not that this group of guys almost killed me. What hit me was that the only thing I could come up with to say was, I hope someone does that to your mother and your sister. The only thing I could come up with was to condemn other women to my own fate. That's what freaked me out. And so as a filmmaker, as a person who is an actor, a writer, a filmmaker, all these things are about expression. So I didn't know what else to do, so I picked up my camera. And I was like, ooh, how do you get harassed? Or I tried to talk to other women, asking about their stories or what were they doing about it, because I felt at a loss. And what I got was women saying to me, oh, you must have been wearing the wrong thing. It was winter. I was bundled up. You must have been, you know, in the wrong part of town. It was my neighborhood. I mean, all these reasons why I got harassed.
They were sort of repeating the myths that are perpetuated by harassers.
Yeah, and society at large.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is weird. And I was really kind of like losing hope, and a friend of mine called me and she's like, listen, you have to go talk to this woman. She's leaving the country tomorrow. And I didn't know who she was, so I just went to this woman's flat. Turns out it was an American girl who had come to Jordan when she was 19. At the time I interviewed her, she was 20. And within 10 days of getting to Jordan, she was sexually assaulted in a cab. And it was horrific what happened to her. And I guess to me it was even more horrific because the only reason she came to the Middle East was to learn Arabic, to understand the reality of the Middle East, understand what the real situation was, not just what we are fed through mainstream media.
Yeah.
As an Arab, I felt like crap about it, although it's not my, I understand it's not my responsibility nor my fault. But I really admire her because not only did she stay, she extended her visit. She's like, I know this is not Jordan, I know this is not the Middle East, this is one guy in this society.
Yeah.
So
do you think that she was more willing to share her story because she was American?
I think she grew up in a culture where we and I was brought up here, we're taught to express ourselves in proactive ways, in ways that will advance ourselves or our situation. In the Middle East, we are not encouraged to speak our minds at all about anything, actually.
And do you think that's true for men and women to a certain degree?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
For men and women. It's not just, it's not the woman's role to keep silent, it's for society's role to keep silent. And I think
to like protect everyone, I mean just,
it's...
maybe not.
Well, I think it's more about, we don't criticize the government, we don't criticize society, we don't criticize religion. If we have something to say about it, it's positive. I think, silence is killing us.